Welcome to the How Did They Do It Real Estate Podcast. Have you ever wondered how people succeed in real estate and what steps they took to get there? If so, this podcast is for you. Your hosts, Sayla and Eileen Prack, interview top experts in the real estate community to share with you their real estate journey and how they achieved massive success. Our goal is to provide you with valuable real estate resources and to help you apply it to your own real estate goal. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the How Did They Do It Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Eileen Prack. And today we have three fantastic guests for you guys. They are all brothers from North Carolina. We have Jeffrey, Kenneth, and Kerwin Donis. And they are crushing it in multifamily. And they are all doing this in their early 20s. So I am fascinated about their story, about how they got started, what drives them, why they got started in space, and really just deep dive into their background, into the story, and what they're looking forward to next, and what they're looking forward to in the future. So welcome to the show, you guys. How are you guys doing?
We're
Thank
good.
you so much.
Thanks for having us.
My name is Kenneth.
I'm Kerwin, and this is
Jeffrey. I appreciate you having us.
Yeah, appreciate you having us.
So can you guys start off by sharing a little bit more about your background and why you guys decided to start with multifamily, with real estate? What got you into this space, especially at this young of an age?
Yeah. Well, my mom, she was a single mom and she raised us growing up. We were low income. She's from Guatemala, so she's also an immigrant. And we were just always motivated to succeed. We never really knew what that would look like, though. For a long time, we thought that was going to be the traditional route of going to college and getting a good high-paying job. But when we were exposed to real estate, which is what Kenny can kind of dive into, that's when we thought broader and kind of started to explore entrepreneurship and real estate.
Yeah. So, one day I was just sitting in my apartment, complex, and I was watching The Breakfast Club and saw a guy come on and he started speaking about wholesaling real estate. And after looking into it, it was something that we at first thought maybe it was a scam, but, we come to realize that it was an actual thing and people were making money and starting businesses out of it. So we jumped into wholesaling. We kind of dabbled in it and we didn't really take it seriously till we visited Guatemala for the first time in 2019, December.
And we just realized how great blessed we were to be in America. My mom is first generation here. She was the first out of her sisters. So our direct aunts and uncles live in Guatemala. So when we went over there for the first time, we saw how impoverished it was. Everyone likes to say we won the lottery ticket by being born here. So we just wanted to make sure that we were making the most of the opportunities that we had. And that's kind of how we got into real estate. And then last year, we kept listening to podcasts. They kept saying go bigger sooner. And we were like, why not? We kind of apply the same mindset in regards to getting started in real estate to multifamily, and we just needed to find the right group. And that's kind of what led us to getting into our first multifamily deal last year and eventually doing a few.
That is fantastic. What was it about it? Because you went to visit Guatemala and then you got to see how they lived in that country, and it opened your eyes to seeing, what kind of possibilities are out there and how other people are living in the space. And so what was the trigger point for you? And how did you take that experience and transition it over to your experience here within real estate? How does your background, your culture drove all of that?
Yeah, well, we had already kind of been exposed to wholesaling and just what real estate investing before. I was cold calling in my dorm room my freshman year of college, and I was cold calling for a flipper. So I was doing some of that, and I was really just learning about real estate, getting into it. But it wasn't until we went to Guatemala. Before that, we were kind of postponing starting our own business in real estate. We were saying, we have time. We can wait till the summer when we have more free time and we don't have to worry about school. But once we saw the reality of how other people in the world live and the privileges we have here, we just realized that was pushing it off and postponing our business was a privilege that our family members don't have, how close we were to not having those. And so that's really what just triggered us. And so we decided to take action as soon as we got back.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting if one of you had come across real estate and decided to follow this path. Why did all three of you decide to do it together as brothers?
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't know if we mentioned this, but our big why at the beginning and definitely still to this day is to retire our mom as soon as possible. And so that was kind of what united us. And once we found wholesaling, that's kind of what planted that seed of, this is a vehicle we can take to get financial freedom for her and eventually ourselves. And that's what, exactly. And so that was kind of just what started us on that journey. And eventually that led us to multifamily.
What does financial freedom look like to you guys? What do you envision it? And how do you see real estate being the vehicle to help get you there?
Yeah, I would say for me, it's living a life by my own design. That's a cliche saying, but I want to travel. I want to go to different parts of the world. And I want to be able to not have to worry about my bills. And that first starts with my mom. She's been cleaning houses for a long time. So it's hard work and she's obviously not getting any younger. Our goal is for us to retire her by having the assets produce enough income that we're, partners in, pay her bills, and that way she doesn't have to work anymore. And maybe we can like travel with her. I want to be able to help my family in Guatemala, and then also just other nonprofits that we're interested in the future. There's different ways that we can give, but obviously we have to start somewhere. So that's kind of what financial freedom looks for me.
Yeah, I would say same
for sure.
Yeah.
I love it because you can see how important like family is to you guys and how you want to take care of your mom, give her a better life first before you guys look after for yourself. And so your why is really to give her the life that you feel that she deserves, and that by working hard for yourself, you're able to provide that lifestyle. And so I'm really impressed about that drive that you guys have, because family is really important, especially to me as well.
100%. I agree.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us a little bit about what did you do to get into your first deal within real estate? And did you have to overcome any obstacles, especially being, a little bit on the younger side?
Yeah, pretty much, right. Like, getting into anything new, especially real estate, most people are older. They're a lot more wealthier than we are when we started. So we immediately needed a mentor. And we just did that by reading some books. Like we started realizing that, okay, well, the properties that we're going to want to go after are going to be larger so that it can support the property management company and have economies of scale and different other types of benefits. So we understood that that takes a certain type of loan, and to qualify for that loan, you need to meet certain requirements that we were not going to meet at the time. And still won't, right? So that's why the whole point of us actually joining Big Multifamily was a group we ended up getting into, was because we could build that team that had more experience than we did. We could leverage all of their track record and credibility when it came to talking to the brokers, also our investors. So there's different things that came into play, but it was really just building a team. That's the main way that we were able to get into our first deal, was building the right team that had a great track record. And obviously we're learning a lot as we go throughout the process.
Yeah. And a big part of that was also building the relationships with those people, just getting to know them, finding out who we would like to work with, and also make sure it was a symbiotic relationship and make sure they would want to work with us as well.
How did you guys date your potential partners, and how did that end conversation come out, saying like, hey, we found a deal. Is this something that you'd be interested in? Can you walk us through how that all worked for you?
For sure. We've always been really big on going to paid conferences, especially in the real estate space. We find that our biggest investment in ourselves. And one way that we can do that is by going to conferences all across the country. We went to our own group has events, Think Multifamily. They have their different events 2 times a year. And we attended those. And that's where we actually met all of our partners for the first time. And it really just comes down to talking to people. We're really good at networking. So we'll go into like the room and try to meet every single person. It was 3 of us. So we kind of spread like wildfire. And we'll try to cover as much ground as we can. Eventually you just like have conversations with people. I follow up with everyone after I meet them at an event. So just by building the relationship and being intentional with it, I kind of figure out who's looking where and who does what and who's good at what. And then I start realizing that, okay, this person is looking in this market, and I know that my investors and I myself would love this area. So let me just kind of stay close to this person and see how I can bring him value. And that's really what we ended up doing, was just finding, what people were looking for and then connecting the two. And eventually we were able to build some really good relationships that we still hold on to today.
So then how did you get into that first deal? Like, how did you guys find the property? And then after you found your partners as well, did you face any challenges with actually closing it? What were the biggest lessons that you took from that first one to be able to get you into the following ones that you guys did?
To be quite honest, I actually came on as a co-sponsor. So we bring our investors on as coming into the multifamily space. We started to learn it's not like single family where you kind of do everything yourself. There's designated people that do certain things. Our partner is actually good at finding deals. They're good at speaking with the brokers. Brokers trust them. They have, a good track record now. So we brought money to the deal and we were able to partner with them. And we also, help out on like asset management, stuff like that.
I can say what we are good at is marketing, and that's something that we're very fond of. So we help people with that as well when it comes to investor relations, emails, and just things like that. That's something that we're good at, that most people in the space may not be as good as we are, in my opinion, like on social media and stuff like that. So it kind of just comes natural to us. In regards to the challenges, I would say that the first thing is like overcoming that limiting belief, as I'm sure like you faced when you got into the space. Coming from a single family background, it seems like an impossible task to do your first deal, especially if it's like over 100 units. Most people that haven't done it, they think it's like, how do I even start? Like, I don't even know what that would look like. For us, we just had to get that thing over the finish line, and then we're like, okay, cool. Now how can we do this again? And after the first one, that was really just the hardest part, was kind of like overcoming that limiting belief of being able to do a deal that big.
And raise capital from investors.
Yeah, raising capital. It was scary. It was very scary.
So since we're on the raising capital side of things, how did those first couple of conversations go like for you guys? And what did you take away from that?
Yeah, I would do a lot of times was just like try to get on the phone with any person I could. And I was immediately going to my network. And I had a friend of mine who's like a really close friend. He has a dad who's a banker and he's very analytical. So I thought it'd be like, and I knew he was going to give me like a very, very tough time on the call, but I kind of walked him through an example of like what our deals might look like. And he asked me a lot of great questions. And one thing that I did learn was I didn't lie to him, but like, you just want to make sure that if you don't have the answer, you can just be honest about that. And I guess I was a little scared to tell him all the time, right? So the cool thing about having a good team is understanding that you can go back to your team and get that answer if you don't know it. So that's something that I did learn, but I was just getting on as many calls as I could, practicing, failing forward is what I like to call it. I really just like, you have a bad call, that's fine. Just get on another one and you slowly get better.
Yeah. And I would also add, as you continue to learn and grow, I think not necessarily ask for money, because we don't ever ask anyone for money. I think it's an opportunity that a lot of people will find as an opportunity. Yeah. As you gain more confidence and actually learn the things that you need to know about why this might be a good deal or why the market, and just be very confident in that, people start to lose that fear. So I would say that that's kind of another thing that we overcame as we gained experience, as we learned more. We aren't really fearful of telling people about opportunities that we may have.
Yeah, it's just like a muscle, right? It's you
Yeah.
got to practice it, you got to work it out, and then it becomes resilient. It goes bigger and bigger.
And you get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. And so you also talked about your skill sets as you've gotten more deeper into the space. You realize that you like to focus on the marketing side of things. How did that come about? And, what are some of the things that you focus on within the marketing for multifamily?
Yeah, well, ever since we started in real estate, we were posting consistently on social media. We grew up with social media, and it's always come like second nature for us to document our journey, and that's how it started. So we've always been posting, and other people have noticed that as well. We've made a lot of good connections through our social media and our marketing efforts. We also have a podcast and email list and things like that have helped us build a community around us. And so I think we found how much value that's brought us and realized that could also bring value to other people who might not be as tech savvy or as up to date on how the marketing side of things works.
Yes, we actually have an agency now that we pretty much help multifamily syndicators with all aspects of marketing, whether that's your website, email funnels, social media, pretty much like anything that comes down to being a multifamily syndicator marketing wise, we can help.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And was this a gradual development over time, or did you come in knowing that we really liked marketing? We liked the social media aspect of this. We liked helping market and growing the companies in this capacity. Or was that something that kind of just developed over time as you figured out what you liked to do in the space?
Yeah, I would say it was definitely gradual over time because we were making content for ourselves, and like I said, it became second nature to us. So it was kind of a shock that other people weren't as good as that at that. And I think they always say that there's different kinds of people, and some people will appeal to certain skill sets. And so we realized, the marketing and people, that's kind of our ththing. And so I think that was our strength. And that's why we're happy to help other people and leverage that to help others.
Yeah. And we just kept having people like walk up to us and ask us, like, are you guys helping other people? And like, can you guys give me tips? And people kept asking for our help. So we just thought, why not make this something that, we can help others, not just ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you think it's also because of the generational differences? Because you guys grew up in an era where social media is just like the normal now, like everybody's on it. And then, some of the older people, they're getting to it a little bit more, but it's not something that they grew up with, that they see all the time. And so do you think that definitely helps play the part in it for you guys?
Yeah, I think like something that came to mind was a lot of people that are older have this fear of getting on social media. Maybe because they think it's like salesy or something. But for us, all of our friends growing up were on it. It was like another social place. That's what it is. Yeah. But for a lot of other people, I guess it was like their friends weren't on it and they started getting on it and they maybe just never got into it. For us, it was second nature. So I think that's something that we actually easily overcame, was that fear of actually putting yourself out there, because it can be difficult to make content, get in front of a camera, or get on a podcast. That's something that people have to overcome. So I think that's something that we were easily able to overcome.
Yeah. And like I said, I think people are fearful of what other people might think or say. So I think they think that they may be judged for something that they post or things like that. So we kind of also, come up with content ideas and help people kind of overcome that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's fantastic. So I also want to talk a little bit about working together as a family, as brothers, as you're starting and learning about each other, because now you're communicating not just as siblings, but now as business partners. How did you guys decide, or how did you develop your communication skills with each other? And did you have any difficulties finding that you had working with family?
Yeah, well, I would say we've worked on our communication skills before we started working on business. Jeff and I used to fight a lot. And so we were like, okay, fighting is not going to work. So we have to communicate
physically.
Yeah. A little bit. We were younger. And so we were like, all right, like we set up some ground rules. And so that just kind of developed. And once we decided that we were all going to jump in on this business, I think that kind of pushed us, but we were already working well together in terms of like just being brothers. And I think we always kind of wanted to work together in some capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool thing is we can say whatever we want to each other because we know where we're coming from in regards to like, sometimes I'll try to be mean, but they know that. They know that I'm trying to be mean. Like I can say whatever I want. And I understand that at the end of the day, like they know I love them. Right. So I think that's something cool. And we also understand, for example, sometimes Kenneth will he'll say stuff and he'll like ramble and I can cut him off because he knows for like a random stranger that might be really rude. But for us, it's like just kind of works, because we kind of we're always together. We work well together. So we've learned how to, I guess, do that in a very efficient manner.
And the big thing is just understanding the other person. Since we know each other so well, I know why, like for Kenneth's a visionary, a natural visionary. So he gets a lot of ideas that just pop into his head. And we're the break that say, no, we can't do that right now. No. And so I think once we just understand, doesn't see it as us being mean, it's just us kind of fulfilling our role in the business entity overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it because you guys have different skill sets and different strengths. Kenneth, it sounds like you're more like the gas, let's go. And then you guys are a little bit like, okay, let's put up the yellow sign. Let's do the yellow light a little bit. Let's slow down. Let's take a step back a little bit. But you kind of need that good balance in a partnership, in the relationship. Like if you guys had all had the same skill sets, you guys probably might not have gone as faster, but you guys are leveraging off of each other's strengths and weaknesses to be able to achieve what you guys have so far.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
So what is the thing that you are most excited about now? And then what are you looking to in the future?
Yeah, I can start. We're releasing more content on YouTube. We're really excited. Right now we're calling them the Donis Brothers Roundtables, but that's not like a set name, but pretty much just us sitting around having conversations about real estate, mindset, financial literacy, things like that.
Yeah, and I would say we're looking to do a deal a quarter this year in regards to the multifamily. So that's something that we're excited about. And we're also looking to expand our agency and bring on more clients. So in regards to the business side of things, that's something that we're really excited about.
Yeah, and then of course travel, get to meet more people, network with people. We love meeting people at networking events and just building relationships, seeing old friends, new friends. So just building a relationship with these people over time is honestly a great thing we're looking forward to this year.
Yeah, there's a just quick plug. There's a Belize event that we go to. It's by the Real Estate Guys. I'm not sure if you've heard of them, Eileen, but we're going to that event. We went there last year for the first time and it was amazing. Awesome. So we're excited for that in the summer.
Yeah.
Okay. When people think about Belize, a lot of time it's like, oh, it's a fantastic vacation spot. But then you guys are going there for a real estate conference and it's such an interesting dynamic, right? But at the same time, it's like a vacation for you guys. Like the real estate conference is exciting.
I would say it's a vacation, but to be quite honest, we were only on the beach. Although we were on an island, we were only on the beach, like in the water, in the ocean for like an hour and a half, maybe, because we were pretty much in learning sessions. They had learning sessions throughout the day, the whole time we were there. So we were pretty much there from like 7 a.m. sometimes till 10 p.m. at night.
Either networking, eating, or learning.
But it's fun. Like, that is our fun.
But it is a lot of fun, just meeting people, speaking with people, and just making relationships with others.
Absolutely. So I need to ask this also because Jeffrey and Kerwin, right? You two are twins.
Yes. Yeah.
When you guys go to conference events, do people, when you meet somebody and then maybe one of you didn't know and then you come up and meet the other person, do they kind of look like, hey, wait, did I just meet you?
Yeah, some people that maybe, I don't know if it went well with him, they'll be like, I already met you. And then they'll turn around, I already met one of you. And they just like, don't even talk to me. But in general, I mean, people, they like sometimes we'll color coordinate and we'll wear the same shirt because we have a company shirt, polos. And so like, I just seen you guys running around.
Yeah. And what I'll say is I'll skip my story since you've already heard it. Like, tell me about you. Because like we pretty much.
Literally, I'm saying it's the same thing. So I just ask about that.
And funny enough, even though they're twins, a lot of people say that we look like triplets. So we look very similar. So in these networking events, of course, like the goal for a majority of people is to meet people and network because they're networking events. So like he said, a lot of people will say, hey, I've already met one of you. And, it's just like a funny thing.
We're like a
Even
walking
though-
brand.
Yeah.
It's easy branding for us.
Yeah.
I know it's like all
You're
three
one
of
the
you.
brothers.
Like if all three of you wore the same color shirt, one would be like in one opposite end, one is in the middle, one is on the other end, and then you're like, wait a second, am I seeing? What am I seeing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely stand out, good and bad.
So, how has real estate investing impacted your life so far?
First thing that comes to mind is I've been able to get into rooms that I've never thought I would have gotten into, especially as fast as I've been able to get into them. That happened because of real estate. So we're going to these conferences to network, but if I never started my real estate journey, I would have never heard about the conferences. So I've been able to like expand my network, meet some amazing individuals, and fortunately, I've been able to learn a lot because of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, real estate, like 2 words, life-changing. It's taught us about how to save money on taxes, how to invest, how to build wealth, how to passive income, just a whole bunch of things that they don't teach you in school, unfortunately. But, we have had the pleasure of just being in real estate and learning that along our journey. And yeah.
Yeah. And I would also say like a lot of people that are, especially my age, but they have the idea of like what they want their dream life to look like. And I had that as well. And I never knew how I could get there, but now I can see that how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool as well.
Yeah. Same.
So, if someone, maybe in your age group or maybe younger are listening to this and they're like, wow, I take inspiration from you guys, or maybe even the older people who haven't gotten started, or maybe looking to get to that next level or anything like that. What were some of the things that you would, suggest that they do, or maybe advise them that they can do to get started, to start realizing how to start, working towards their dream or their lifestyle that they want to design?
Yeah, I would say 2 things. Really just learning, educating yourself, whether it's wholesaling, multifamily, commercial, whatever it is that you're looking to get into as far as real estate, just educating yourself, watching videos, maybe investing some money into a mastermind and or course. And then of course, traveling to events, because you meet phenomenal people that can potentially have opportunities for you that, would help you along your journey.
Yeah, I think if you're surrounding yourself with people that are doing what you want to do, it just kind of demystifies. Kerwin said this on a podcast that we were on earlier this week. Demystifies like the illusion of it being impossible.
Yeah.
And so then what is the one thing that you know now about real estate that you wish you knew when you first started?
Yeah, something we recently learned is that multifamily is a slow burn. It's a long-term wealth building strategy. It makes a lot more sense. And so that's something that I wish somebody had told me that. And so it was really awesome that we now know that and kind of adjusted along the way.
It's not a get rich quick. It's more of a get rich for sure. Whether it takes 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you'll build generational wealth and hopefully be able to pass something along to your family to come. So yeah, I would say that would be a good thing. I mean, I kind of knew that, but once I've actually seen what people have come from and then where they're at later in their life, it's very, very remarkable.
I want to touch on that really quick, because something that you said was sometimes people get into this space and they are like very enamored by what multifamily can do for you. They might jump into it a little bit quickly or, full in,
Yeah.
right? But you guys realized and learned that it's a slower type of return, but eventually it will pay off. But you just need it's like a marathon. It's a slow and steady race, right?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
How did you guys get to that point? And how did you guys decide to like pivot once you decided to do that? Because you recognize, like as you're building it up on one side, you need to do something else to accommodate while it's building.
Yeah. Well, we started in wholesaling, just to provide context. That was a lot of cash, like a lot of money. So that was the active income, but we have always been told passive income is the goal, but you need both. You need both to live and survive and make it to the point where passive income surpasses your active income. So just done a few deals and, we kind of did the math and it just seemed like it was going to take more time than we anticipated. And that's okay, because I think that's just part of the journey. So like we mentioned earlier, we're helping multifamily investors with their marketing. We're also involved in some other things, but in general, I think it's just about having a holistic plan and not just relying on one thing. Because like I said, multifamily for the most part is a wealth building strategy. It isn't necessarily a break the bank and get rich right now strategy.
So what is one thing that sets the successful people apart in real estate?
I would say over time, being consistent and having the tenacity to go through with whatever you're trying to do, regardless of the obstacles that are obviously going to come.
I would say, as much as cliche as this is, your network is your net worth. If you know people and you have contacts of people that you can call to ask a question about or sign on a loan with you, provide you with money to find a deal, I think that is invaluable in this space. And I think the only way to do that is to get out there and just meet people.
Yep. And I think also in general, I mean, anyone that's a lifelong learner and understands that the more they know, the more that they don't know. So I think people that are always learning, they are by far the most successful.
Yeah.
And I want to wrap up really quick with one more question to you guys. As you're still young, you still have plenty of time, in your career to grow and to develop and to build a really, really even stronger business than what you have right now. As you've come across challenges and, setbacks potentially, what are some of the things that you focus on to get you back on the right track so that you continue on this path?
I will say, I think the way we think about time is what maybe sets it apart, is because we don't think about time as in 1 day or 2 day or 1 year. We think of it more of 5 years, 10 years time frame. So if you think about it, 1 day or even a week or even a month or even that is not going so well is little in comparison to what you could potentially do in 5 to 10 years. So, and another thing is, every time along our journey, we've had a valley, we like to call them. As long as we've just kept going and, never lost faith and just kept on just climbing the mountain, literally another win just comes around the corner every single time. So that's what we like to say, you just got to keep on going no matter what happens. And
yeah. And fortunately, we have each other to depend on. So it's not like we're going into it alone. That's why I think your support group is very important. I failed a lot of times this week. And I was telling, me and Kerwin have really good conversations. We all do about this exact question. I tell him man, I don't feel well today. I'm just off. And we just have the conversation about it. And what we kind of came to the conclusion was I try to become grateful for those obstacles, because that's the thing that's going to help me not only grow, but progress and eventually win. So, and we read a lot of books. So there's a book by Tim Grover called Winning.
Yep.
And he just talks about how Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, they have faced the same things, and the winners were the people that didn't quit.
Yeah. And just to kind of emphasize what he said, failing is something that we've noticed. When we fail, it's something that we've noticed it's important to do it every day, or to do it as often as you can. So it's kind of like a sign that you're doing something right, and you're almost asking for it. If you're an entrepreneur.
I was telling him you don't want to have the same problems every day, because that doesn't mean that you're growing. If you're growing, you're going to face new challenges, and I think that's the beauty in it.
Yep. Because when you're failing, right, it means that you're actually making progress to your end goal. If you're not failing, if you're not trying, I mean, you're not really making moves forward. And so it's how you pivot and how you adjust yourself down the road, and then learn from your lessons so that you don't continue to fail, or you just pivot and learn from those lessons.
Yep, exactly.
That's what we love to say.
So Jeffrey, Kerwin, and Kenneth, if our listeners wanted to find out more about you guys and, learn more about your story, because I think it is fantastic. I love what you guys are doing. The connection that you guys have as brothers, as business partners, it's amazing. I think you guys are so inspirational to not only the older generation, but the people younger than you guys. You guys are paving the path, sharing. There's a different financial freedom out there. There's different ways that we can achieve our goals. Just be open to the opportunities out there, be open and be flexible, be able to pivot when challenges come your way, and really focus on your strong why and why you're doing it. So for our listeners out there who wanted to find out more about you all and get in touch and just learn more about what you do, where's the best place that they can go?
Yeah, we're at Donis Brothers on every social media platform. We're on YouTube, and we also have a podcast, the Real Estate Monopoly Podcast. And we also have our website, donisinvestmentgroup.com. And if you go donisinvestmentgroup.com/5-mistakes investors, something like that. It's a playbook that we have for anyone that's looking to avoid some of the common missteps people make.
Yeah. But pretty much you can follow our journey on social media.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, DM us on Instagram. We tend to respond fairly quickly. So I think we're pretty easy to get in touch with. And we'd love to help out anyone that has any questions and help out in any way we can.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you all. I really enjoyed our conversation today, and I really appreciate your time. And thank you for listening to our podcast today, brought to you by Bonavest Capital. We would really appreciate it if you can go to iTunes right now and leave a rating and written review. Also, please don't forget to subscribe so you can always get the latest episodes. You can also connect with us on Facebook, How Did They Do It Real Estate. We'd love to hear your feedback and any topics that you're interested in for future episodes. Lastly, to learn more about us, you can go to bonavestcapital.com and fill out the Contact Us page so you can speak to us directly. Nothing on the show should be considered as specific personal advice. Please consult your legal, tax, and real estate professionals for individualized advice.